oh my God, I'm entering Bollywood and all. There was no moment like that, you know. I think with Kareena, when she likes something, it's on her face. When she doesn't like it, it's on her face. It's the first time there was an experience on a Hindi film where we were looking at clothes from all the designers in the world. It's not that men are very interested in fashion, you know. It's just that they want to make faster decisions and stuff. Working women need to have a capsule wardrobe, you know, which is like key pieces in their capsule wardrobe. I feel like a lot of people, because I style celebrities, they look at celebrities and they're like, oh my God, I want to dress like that.
Step into the glamorous world of Bollywood fashion with the renowned stylist Tanya Ghavri. As the mastermind behind the impeccable looks of Bollywood stars, Tanya shares insights into her lustrous career, spills behind-the-scenes stories, and unveils the hottest styling trends for this wedding season. Join us for a chic conversation that's all about glam, grace, and the art of making stars shine. Welcome to the Humans of Bombay show, Tanya.
Thank you so much.
So excited to have you. I can safely say that this was one of the only episodes where I was really stressed about what to wear.
Oh God.
I was like,
you look really pretty, by the way.
Thank you. I really put in an effort for this one.
Yeah,
I was like,
I love
must.
it. The Diwali feeling is still going on. I like it.
Okay, great. I'm glad we have started on this note of approval.
No, you look beautiful.
But I'm really excited to chat with you about so many questions that I have, especially given that you have this huge body of work to speak for and beyond that, right? And so much that people wonder about what goes into the making of a stylist and what is your thought process.
Correct.
But I'm going to start a little bit in the beginning, right? I know you went to Parsons and you've had this entire journey with fashion design, art effectively. It's a form of art.
Correct.
But what was that moment where you decided, okay, let me be a stylist? Because it wasn't the most like in profession as it is now.
Yeah.
When you started.
Yeah. You know, I don't think there was a particular moment because honestly, I feel like when you're 16, 17, 18, you're so young and you're so excited about so many things that it wasn't a particular moment. I think it was a series of things that happened, you know. I went to New York just like any other kid who's like finishes like college and is confused about what she wants to do or whatever. I felt like it's like a world of options. What should I do? And I was very nervous, etc., etc. But I went to Parsons and I think New York City was very, very instrumental in inspiring me when it comes to fashion and art and design. So I knew it had to be in that arena. But I think I really took to fashion when I was in Parsons, you know, and all my projects that were related to fashion, I think it was something that was exciting me a lot. I was putting in a lot more work into it. And at that time, I don't think styling was, you were hearing, okay, there are stylists. There was Ananya Shroff who was like amazing. And, you know, you were hearing about stylists and stuff, but it was not, in India, it wasn't as big, you know.
Yeah.
There were very few names in the game, but internationally, of course, there were lots. And I think that's where the journey started. And I got an internship or as an assistant on Aisha.
Yeah.
That was my first gig.
So that's obviously one of the biggest questions you have, because Aisha as a film was very path-breaking in the fashion context.
Correct.
Everybody was like, oh my God, her outfits and just the shift from, very basic level, or I would like to say like abstract level fashion to couture.
I think the whole credit for that definitely goes to Pernia Qureshi, who is also one of my closest friends now, who is a fashion force, you know, Kareena Kapoor, Sonam Kapoor, like I think they are they're a great team in that sense. And I kind of had the opportunity at such a young age to you know, work with this team, and it was really fun and very creative. And we were it's the first time there was an experience on a Hindi film where we were looking at clothes from all the designers in the world, mixed with vintage, mixed with designers in India. We were sourcing clothes. It was a mix of sourcing, renting, buying, like whatever. But a lot of people were doing collaborations with Ria, and she was such a young producer as well. So I think it was like a creative explosion of sorts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was my first experience working as a stylist and getting introduced to how fashion styling would meet the Hindi movie industry and how that would be portrayed on screen,
Yeah.
you know, and that it was so new that I felt like everyone took to it, you know.
Yeah.
Even today, women will come up to Pernia, or if I, you know, when I talk about Aisha or I think Riya Sonam and all the actors, it's still kind of considered like, wow, like, you know, that was, like, especially with women, I
Of
think.
course, yeah. Like it's still, I think it's still date one of those fashion relevant movies, you know, that just does
100%.
not go out of style.
Yeah. 100%. I fully agree with you.
So I have an interesting question on that note, is that you have this very interesting position within Bollywood where you're in it, but you're not in it, right? Like you're one of the key people to make things happen off camera.
Yeah.
What's
That's
Bollywood
true.
like? And how is it for you at an age of 21, 22 to enter the big world of
You
Bollywood?
know, honestly, everyone, I have been asked these questions in different ways at different points. But for me, at that point, working with Sonam, who was like a fashion icon in India, you know, an actor who was doing substantial work, etc., and also I was just excited about the work. I was like, wow, I'm getting to like put all these beautiful clothes together, and I like, you know, I'm getting a platform to do this. I wasn't thinking also so much about, oh my God, I'm entering Bollywood and all. There was no moment like that, you know. It's just Sonam happened, and then she made me meet Lolo. Then Bebo happened. It all happened like one after the other. But I was, I think, so focused on the work that I didn't look at what was going on outside of it. You know, I just kind of kept my focus on the work for many, many years, actually. You know, it was all the other stuff, which is the social media, etc., happened later.
Like as a byproduct.
Yeah, it was all a byproduct, you know, whether it's the, you know, getting famous or it was the money or whatever, all of this was the byproduct, you know. I think the focus was always the creative energies that I was putting into the work, you know, and the work itself. Yeah.
So let's talk about the work.
Yeah.
How intimidating is it? How are the hours? How is it, you know, kind of getting those looks right? Because you're dressing up very iconic people who have a huge place on the global platform almost.
Correct.
Like if you talk about a Kareena Kapoor Khan, the responsibility of making her look a certain way, and she always does look a certain way, and which is on point. And credit to you. How is it like behind the scenes?
I think what's not changed from the first time I dressed Kareena to even now, or whether for the smallest of stuff that we work with, whether it's personal or professional, personal or red carpets or whatever it is, I'm like, she has to look amazing. You know?
I'm going to interject with a question because you've said it twice now, and we'll come back to the bigger question. When was the first time you dressed her, and what was that experience?
The first time I dressed her, actually, it was Riya and me together. And we dressed her for the promo launch of Ek Mein Aur Ek Tu.
Okay.
And she was wearing this beautiful printed dress. I'm now forgetting the designer, but it was a beautiful printed dress from an international brand. And it was just, I think it was a breath of fresh air. You know, suddenly everyone was like, oh, okay, interesting. You know, Kareena is like suddenly dressed differently. I think that's what happened, you know. And she just looked like very beautiful and fresh. And I think that was my first time. And then it just, you know, things just happened. And then I kept dressing her for various things. So yeah, it was very interesting, you know.
So what did
it's
she say
been
to
a
you?
long journey with her. I think with Kareena, of course, now it's been so many years I've worked with her. When she likes something, it's on her face. When she doesn't like it, it's on her face. Like she's so transparent about it. And she's also very honest with me. And I think the honesty is what has worked in our favor because it's a collaborative process in the long term, you know.
Correct.
So you know, Kareena, when she wears a dress, you just look at her face and you know, okay, she's gonna work this, or it's not happening, you know. So like this morning, I did a fitting with her, and we were like chatting on the group, and I was like, okay, that fitting was 8 seconds long because we wore something, tried something on, and she just knew. She was like, this is what I'm wearing today, you know. Very like instinctive as an actor or as a person.
Correct.
Yeah.
Has it ever gone wrong? Like, have you been like?
Of course, you're in the creative field. It's gonna go wrong sometimes, you know, with her or with other actors, you know. And I've had points where I dress someone, I thought, okay, it's gonna work, and then in retrospect, I'm like, oh oops, okay, that didn't work, and then I've apologized saying, listen, I mean, it's my bad, it's not worked and it's not, I'm really sorry, we'll do better next time. So I think when you're working with actors and creative people, etc., I think communication and honesty is very important.
Okay, so at Humans of Bombay, we love specifics. So,
Oops.
yeah, so with your overarching answer, we're going to point you and be like, tell me which.
I think, trying to think of like points, but I think I remember dressing Pari. I've dressed Pari many times, but I remember at some point I had dressed her in a Marquesa outfit. And I felt like it was my bad judgment and it wasn't very flattering and it didn't work for her. And then we worked together on lots of other things and she looked amazing, So I feel that some kind of sense and judgment over 15, 16 years of working, of course there have been. And I always say that as much as I take the applaud, I will also take the criticism in the right way. If 10 people are telling you it's not working, there must be something wrong. You got to look back and realize and learn from it. It's okay, So my sister is a little bit like, she shows me the mirror. She will, and she's really like straight up with me. Like if I do something and she doesn't like it or she feels like it's not visually appealing, she'll be like, what were you thinking?
Yeah. So let's get into the what were you thinking aspect of it, right? Give me a breakdown of how it works. How does it? What goes into becoming a stylist?
Okay, so that is a very long answer, but what I can tell you is maybe, of course, like if you have the means to go to a fashion school, study styling or designing, whatever it is that you want to do. If you have the means to do that, whether if you want to go away abroad and study or you want to study in India, India has amazing schools. So I would say even India has great options.
Tell me some schools.
There's NIFT, there's SNDT, there is Pearl Academy, there is Parsons now,
they're
ISDI, So there are loads of options in India that are that are teaching fashion, and NIFT is still the best, but you study it. And then of course you get internships through the school sometimes you use your own network to write to stylists and etc and try and get an internship with a stylist. There's no better way than to get an internship, assist somebody, work for a few years, understand what it takes, how sourcing works, how returns work, how organized you have to be, what the hours are going to be. It's going to be long hours. It's difficult, there's a lot of commute, there's a lot of time involvement, fittings take time, a lot of patience is required. You have to wait sometimes. You have to understand that the actor is in a tougher position than you are in terms of their time management, right? So I think it takes a lot of hard work and it takes a lot of patience, So I feel like that these things are very important, but the process of styling is that, an actor management tells you that, okay, this is the event, you look at the nature of the event, where it's happening, what time it's happening. You speak to the management or the actor, you discuss with them internally. They ask you for your opinions. You write to hundreds of designers. They send you clothes to India on returnable basis. That's how it works, right? And because they get press out of it. And then you choose stuff, whatever works for you, you choose. People send you those pieces, you do fittings with the actor, and then you decide with the actor and the hair and makeup team what works the best. Decide what the hair and makeup is going to be like.
That's the domain of the stylist.
The stylist primarily will tell the actor and the hair and makeup team what she thinks or he thinks will work.
The vision of the look.
Exactly. The look head to toe.
Correct.
So it's accessories, bags, shoes, hair, makeup, clothes. It's everything. Okay. Styling is each one of these aspects. Of course, we don't physically do the hair and makeup, but I'm going to tell the hair and makeup team what I think works. And of course, we work with very acclaimed hair and makeup artists who know exactly what their job is. So sometimes I'll be like, okay, this is what I feel. But the hair stylist might be like, okay, no, this is what I feel. So it's you communicate.
Yeah.
There's no fight. There's no showdowns. It's you're making, it's teamwork, right? And then, of course, today we love to do pictures. So we do pictures of the look, which the designers really appreciate, honestly, because they feel like they get amazing images out of it, So it's a give and take.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long are the hours?
Every day is different, honestly. If you're shooting an ad or a campaign, it could be anywhere between like door to door, like 10, 12 hours, maybe more. But on a day where you're doing meetings, fittings, it could be lesser, a couple of hours a day.
Correct.
But I always say, and my mom and my sister and my friends always make fun of me, that they said, okay, being a stylist is 24/7.
Yeah.
It's like you're just about closing your eyes when you're sleeping, you're waking up and you're replying to messages. I'm constantly working on like WhatsApp or like emails, etc., because I'm always looking for more designers. I'm always looking to broaden my, list of people that I work with.
Correct.
Building my relationships, etc. Yeah.
Who's your most favorite person to work with?
Bebo.
Yeah.
She'll always be. Like, she's too special to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's someone I started my career with. We have the best times together. And of course, I like working with all of the young Gen Z girls. I love them, whether it's Sara, Janvi, Ananya, all of them. But Bebo is special for me. Yeah.
How has it evolved from, like you worked with Kareena Kapoor, Sonam Kapoor, that wing of actresses to, like you said, Gen Z? How has it evolved?
They are very different, of course. Kareena, Sonam, Katrina, all of them, I mean, they're amazing. And I think they are somebody who, I think by the time I started working with them, they were kind of in tune with who they are, their personality, what they like, what they don't like. But the Gen Z is experimenting, they're exploring, they're figuring. So it's a different kind of fun. You know what I mean? And it's a little unpredictable as well, which I'll enjoy. I think there's a lot that you can do. I love the energy to work with Gen Z because they're kind of on the go, and it's like you're working a little bit in chaos, but it's electrifying. It's fun.
Yeah. What has been your toughest day at the office in these last 16 years? Let's talk about that.
The toughest day. Oh God, that's a bit of a tough question. But I think the most chaotic time is Diwali, because I just feel like you're styling so many people. There's so much going on. There's all this jewelry, and there's like all these heavy clothes, and so there have been panic moments, you know what I mean, during Diwali time where you're like, oh my God, where is that piece? And did someone else take it? And like, you know what I mean? So there's no particular day. There's some stresses that happen. But now I know how to like deal with situations, and I never get very, very angry or hyper. I kind of I work with a solution mindset as opposed to a mindset of like harping on the problem.
Correct.
Yeah.
How big is your team?
I have 2 full-time like assistants.
Yeah.
And then everyone else kind of works with me freelance, which means that they do other work as well. And then whenever we need them on projects, they work with me on projects. But then I have one manager who's like my whole and soul.
Your whole and soul.
Yeah.
And how exhausting or exhilarating is it to live up to these expectations? Right now I'm talking to you on not a Bollywood, not a profession, but just on a human level. Because there's so much, and it's public.
Yeah. I think, not to say this in any bad way, but I feel like I'm a little bit obsessed with my job. I'm a little bit obsessed with like what I'm doing, like putting looks together, being a stylist, So to me, what may feel exhausting to someone else, it's like, I don't know, it's to me, I love it. You know what I mean? And I find it, sometimes of course I get tired and all, and I'll vent to my mom or my sister and all, but then I wake up the next day, I'm still excited about it. So I don't think I would say that it's exhausting. I feel like that's like a negative word to me, Yeah.
On that note, how often are you traveling? What's your year like?
Oh God, I'm traveling a lot. It's this question now, I better give a very truthful answer because I travel a lot for my life also. I love to travel. So if it's like my mom just fired me on my way here because she's like, you get 4 days off and you're running away somewhere, So to me, I come alive when I travel. So if I have a few days off, I'm always like, where should I go? You know what I mean? What can I see?
Let's talk on a professional level.
Professional level, it depends on work. if I'm going for work, I'll go for a day, 2 days, 3 days, whatever it is, shoot-wise. Probably a couple of days a month. It's not as much.
It's not as
Most of the work is happening in Bombay.
Okay.
Unless you're going away for a shoot. You know,
shoot as in like
traveling
a
for
film
a shoot, traveling for an editorial shoot, traveling for an ad shoot, a campaign. You know, that's a few days in the month. You know, the rest of the work happens mostly in Bombay. A lot of shoots happen in Bombay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last question before we get into the technicalities, which we have a lot of.
Yeah.
How's work-life balance? Like, are you trying to be more balanced?
I think I am trying to be more balanced now.
Okay.
The first 10 years, I was not. The first 10 years, I was just like work. It was like 90%, 80-90% work, 10% of like me time and balance and stuff. But I think now it's coming slowly into like a 60-40, which is,
The healthy.
It's, yeah. And I think it's probably going to become more and more. And I think now today it's going to be more about taking quality work, right? Yeah. Over quantity.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we're going to go into the segment called Ask a Stylist.
Yes.
So the idea of our chat, the idea of this show is so that people take something out of it on a very actionable level. Where, okay, I can do this in my life. Because not everybody can necessarily afford the high-end fashion brands, or they can't necessarily afford even something that, say, most people would say, okay, like a Zara or H&M, right? So the idea of this segment is to just give people some kind of context on how they can up their game.
Yes.
Okay. So what are 3 key wardrobe pieces that everyone must have?
I think
Before you answer, are you talking about it on an overarching male and female, or you're separating it?
I'll have to separate it, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think for females, I always say a really good pair of jeans, because I feel like you said wardrobe pieces, right?
Yeah, 3 staple
wardrobe pieces. So I think a really good pair of jeans, whether it's boyfriend denim, skinny denims, whatever works for your body type. And I think a really good black blazer, because I feel like it can go from day to night, work, outside. So really good, it may not look a corporate blazer, but like a boyfriend blazer.
Correct,
you know? And a pair of nude heels, you know.
And can you give me some brands for these, right? Like that you recommend that is accessible to most women?
Oh, I mean, black blazer could be Zara, could be Mango, could be, you know, Bershka, could be, you know, I'm talking about, these are the high street brands. But if you're someone who is very conscious about sustainability, etc., today there are lots of vintage, you know, pieces are available on websites. You know, you can get those as well. If you're someone who likes luxury, you could go online, you know, and buy something from the branded stores, etc. So it really depends on, you know, what your
budget.
But yeah, I think so. I think, again, you know, the same thing. But I think a pair of really nice nude heels is something girls should invest in with a good designer, you know, because I feel like then quality matters a lot, you know, and quality is long lasting.
Yeah. And what about men? 3 staples that they can have.
3 staples for men. I think jeans is definitely something that's universal. I would say men should have a really nice white shirt, which could be something that could be custom. You know, you can go to like a really good designer or tailor, whatever, and make a custom white shirt. And maybe brogues.
Yeah.
Like a good pair of brogues. Yeah.
Okay. How can a working woman master her wardrobe and amp up her style while still maintaining that professional essence, right? Like, now we're not talking about the creative field where you can just, you can wear anything. You're corporate.
I think working women need to have a capsule wardrobe, you know, which is like key pieces in the capsule wardrobe, whether it's, you know, a little black dress that doesn't have to be very little. It can be like a knee-length black dress. It could be a black blazer. It could be a pair of boyfriend denims. It could be a few pairs of heels that are very neutral, whether it's nude, black, white, you know, a really nice pantsuit. I think women that are working need to have a capsule wardrobe and have key pieces that they invest in from good brands, you know, whether it's slow fashion, whether it's luxury designers, etc., that they can mix and match, put together in different ways, so that they're not spending a lot of money to, you know, keep wearing new things at work, you know.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important to invest in the right pieces and then style them in different ways, you know, and have like a really cute little accessory corner, you know, at home in your room, wherein you buy pieces that are things that you can actually wear, you know, whether it's like a love bracelet or a nice watch.
Okay, let's break that up a little bit. Tell me a few brands. This is for corporate working India. Let's give them a mix of both high street as well as slightly higher if somebody wants to invest.
Of course. So I feel like if, you know, it really depends on what your budgets and stuff are. But if you are someone who is sensitive in terms of price and, you know, what you're looking at and stuff, of course, you have all these, you know, the fast fashion brands like Zara and H&M, etc. You have that option and it's very easily available in malls and stuff like that. But if you're someone who wants to invest in a piece that's long lasting and, you know, you're somebody who wants to hold on to pieces for a long time and want to focus more on quality, of course, there are like international brands and stuff on websites, whether it's Agio Luxe now has a lot of international brands, or Revolve or Net-a-Porter, or etc. You can buy a lot of really nice brands from these websites, and a lot of Indian designers as well, you know. There is Rohit and Rahul who do pantsuits really well. There is Doodleage who does you know, sustainable stuff, you know, that's more day to day, but you could obviously custom from them as well, you know, if you go to them and tell them that, okay, this is what we're looking at. You know, Shift Nimisha used to be one of my favorite brands, and I felt like it was such a good day-to-day office you know, pieces as well, and you could wear them out and about as well, you know. And I'm really hoping he comes back and relaunches.
Okay, great. What about jewelry? You mentioned that, you know, jewelry is versatile. Like you can amp up any look with a few basics. What are
I love Misho, and it's the first jewelry brand that's coming to my head, and I think Sohani is so incredibly talented and her pieces are so wearable, whether you want like things that are day to day or things that are statement. She does a mix of everything. So I feel like I really like her jewelry, and some pieces are very nice to wear, whether it's to work or lunch or dinner or to even party.
Okay, fantastic. The next question is on the side of men in fashion.
Yes.
How can men who, I mean, I know that there is a whole movement now happening that men take their fashion seriously, and you can see it. You can see it in everyday life. But what can they do to up it? What can they do to remain clued in a way that's allowing their lifestyle or their current circumstance?
Yeah, you know, I think I get this question from men all the time because I'm always styling women. And a lot of my guy friends will always be like, oh, like they'll always send me pictures, be like this or that, or, you know. And I think in general, men are... it's not that men are very interested in fashion, you know, it's just that they want to make faster decisions and stuff. But yeah, I think for men, there are a lot of brands now that are doing like really cool menswear. Like I love Antaragni, you know, they are very cool, and they make like, it's like Indian but with a modern twist, you know what I mean, and very interesting silhouettes and stuff like that. So I think a couple of pieces, again, men need to have a capsule wardrobe as well, you know, whether it's really nice sweatshirts, whether it's a pair of chinos, a good pair of jeans, some brogues, a few sneakers, you know, that can always kind of make any look super fun, a pair of formal shoes. So I think I think men need to create capsule wardrobes as well, you know, things they can mix and match within their looks, and have a little bit of fun with like office wear as well, because I feel like men tend to go very safe and it's a bit boring sometimes, you know.
So how can they do that?
I think experiment a little bit with not just working with the usuals, which is the white shirts. And I have a friend who has probably like 60 white shirts because he's like, I don't know what else to wear, you know. And I love a good white shirt, but like, I mean, you can work with monotones, beiges, you can work with, like, recognize your palette, you know, and then work within that palette. You can do stripes, you can do a light pink, you can do a pastel, you know, work with a little bit of, you know, I'm not saying bright colors, but within that space. Yeah, so I think a show for reference for boys is Succession.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
It's quiet luxury, and I love good quiet luxury on men. I think it's really sexy and hot, and that's how men should be dressed.
Yeah. Okay. How can one be sustainable with regards to their purchasing? Right now, obviously, everybody is not in the position of, okay, there's something new this season, there's a new trend, let me go and buy it. So how do you kind of decide that and balance it?
I think it's very important to understand, and this is why I keep stressing on the capsule wardrobe thing, because if you have key pieces in your wardrobe that I use the same pieces again and again a lot, and I just style them in different ways, you know, that is sustainability, you know. And of course, working with brands that are, you know, worried about the fabrics they're using, where they're coming from, you know, I think that is sustainable. The sustainability is like, there are different like parts of it, facets, you know. So it really depends, you know. To me, sustainability is like, you know, buying a piece which is going to add value to my wardrobe and then really using it, you know, and then passing it down to somebody who can use it as well, you know. So because I'm a stylist, I have a lot of things, but then, you know, my mom will use it, my sister will use it, you know, I will hand it over to someone else who can use it. So I think it's less wastage. That is the main,
being sustainable.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the standout color you predict for next season?
Wow. I think monotones, honestly, right now, like nude on nude, like beige on beige, and gray on gray, you know, two tones of gray. I feel like it's going to become much like, it's already really big and it's only going to get bigger. Tan. I love a good tan, you know. Yeah, for sure.
Who's a go-to designer you suggest for everyday wear? Indian designer for everyday wear. Wow. Okay, that's an interesting question. I mean, honestly, everyday wear, I love, like, I love Anamika Khanna, but that's like festive, and but she has a line called AKOK now, which is like very cool, you know. So I love her clothes. But there are lots of designers, like Summer Somewhere is very cute, you know, for everyday wear. They have like cute little dresses, tops. I think for the weather in India, it's a great idea to go to someone like that, but that's more casual. So it really depends on everyday wear, what you're talking about. Is it work? Is it casual? Yeah, but these are a couple of Indian designers that are. Dhruv Kapoor, I love. Yeah. Okay, so we'll go from everyday wear to a very looming question, which is marriages.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Brides and grooms, right? How do you pick what you're going to wear for your wedding? And what are some of the tips that you would give people who are confused whether to be minimal, whether to go all out?
I think maximalism and minimalism is your, it's who you are innately. You know what I mean? Like, for example, I know I'm a minimal bride, right? Like, less is more to me. I will not accessorize too much, and I'll always pull something out. But it depends. Like, you could be someone who's like, oh my God, my wedding, I'm going to go all out, you know, and I'm going to like really kill it. Every look has to be like amazing. I have to be the center of attention, and I'm going to be maximal. So that depends on you. That has to come from you. But if you ask me within maximalism who you can go to, I will give you 5 designers. You know what I mean? Within minimalism, who do you want to go to? But I would say brides and grooms. So first of all is to ask yourself who you are, what you like to do, you know. But I think communicate with your partner, you know, what they want to do, what you want to do. Think for yourself as well. Don't take too many opinions, because weddings in India means everybody's giving you an opinion, you know. So I feel like don't take too many opinions. It's okay to listen to everyone and eventually do what you feel is correct for you, you know, because I think we're all very instinctive. That is something that I always tell people. And then whether we want to work with a stylist or, okay, these are the 5 designers I want to work with, go to the designers, meet them, or go to their stores, look at pieces. If you have a stylist, great, you're sorted, because then they can guide you, But if you don't, then recognize those 4-5 designers that you want to work with, and then be like, okay, this is someone I want to work with for my cocktail. This is someone, and then eventually dive deeper. Figure out who you want to work with for what event, and then dive deeper, and definitely talk to your partner, because eventually you're going to be in the pictures together. So it can't be completely like off. Yeah.
What if there is no stylist in question? So that's my first question. Second question is, what if the biggest question that people have is that I don't want to look like everybody else. And with us, it's so common, right? Like you have the reds, you have the pinks, and then there's a season and everybody looks like each other kind of.
These days what started to happen is that when you see wedding cards and stuff, not all weddings, but a lot of weddings where the bride and the groom are very particular about how they're looking, they'll be like, okay, these are the 2 colors you can't wear.
No.
Yeah. There are I've got invites for weddings, but they're like, these 2 colors you avoid, and the rest you are open to whatever, because those are the colors the bride and groom are wearing.
No, but I'm saying internally within brides, right? Like they're like, okay, we want to look a little bit different than what is available.
See, a lot of brides now, some brides want to still go traditional and wear reds and pinks and stuff, but a lot of brides now, especially after Alia Bhatt's wedding, and she looked so spectacular in that off-white and gold, and I think with the soft hair and the minimal makeup and stuff like that, she kind of gave it's like a little bit of an awakening, you know what I mean?
That it can be muted.
It can be like that as well, And I think a lot of brides want to wear like pastels and stuff. I'm hearing a lot of brides that come to me and talk about the fact that they don't want to go down the red route, So I think people are really opening their minds up, and I really like that they're being very individualistic, and they're like, okay, this is my language and this is what I want to wear, and it's my big day.
Yeah. So what would your recommendation be in terms of color? Let's say that there are brides listening who want to kind of break the norm of red and pink.
Yeah.
What would you recommend? I know, of course, it depends on
I love an ivory and gold or a dull gold for the wedding day. It's just something, to me, it's so soothing and it's beautiful and it's elegant, and the visual is always amazing. And whatever your partner might wear, an elegant white and gold or a dull gold will always look amazing. Or even a light pink and gold, like the way Anushka wore.
Yeah.
So I think for the wedding day, to me, in my head, when I visualize it, I love that visual, Okay. And then, of course, for mehendi feels like, okay, it has to be a beautiful, like, lime green or a yellow, So I think but I don't want to generalize, because it really depends on the function, and it really depends on where the function is. If it's a oceanside wedding, or is it in the palace, or
What about men? Men in their weddings, what should they wear?
God, I've seen brides with. I've given styling like lessons to brides and grooms, and the grooms are always like, whatever she decides, then I'll decide accordingly.
I'll take the call after. It's her wedding.
It's her wedding. It's basically her wedding.
Attend.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, usually they're all very sweet and non-fussy. But I think it's a joint decision almost. But I love, a deep red or a navy blue. For maybe a cocktail for a guy. I love a really good off-white and gold or a dull gold, even for men, or a black, for men, for their main wedding day. I don't know if black is not auspicious enough, but I think like maybe, a dull gold, off-white gold, or anything in the pastel zone, nothing too bright, maybe for the main wedding day. And then, of course, the other days can be, you can have fun. Mehendi is when you can have fun. You know what I mean? You can do like a really fun color, or like a print. And just like really, really enjoy yourself on the wedding, on the mehendi day, or, cocktail. And then you can do a really cool, sharp suit for the cocktail night,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, fab. So we've come to the end of this little knowledge burst that I hope helps people.
Yes, I hope
down
so.
to the last 2 questions. The second question is from our mutual friend who has asked me to ask you. Mr. Rohan Shrestha has said, please ask her about Tan 2.0 and I was most intrigued as to what it is.
Oh
So,
my
what is
God.
Stan 2.0?
You know, I was Stan 2.0 last year. And the Stan 2.0 started by my closest friends who are basically, they keep talking about how I was this person for like many, many years who was just like working. And I'm like, now I've given myself a title of Granny Tanny, which is like sleeping at 9:30, 10 and like working the whole day, sleeping. Like I'll hang out with my friends and all and have breakfast with them. I'll be like, oh, let's go for breakfast.
Oh, yeah, breakfast is the best.
But I don't want to go out in the night, you know, and like dozing off at parties and all that. But last year I was like, come on, like, you know, you always have that one year.
That burst.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I traveled a lot and I was really out and about. I really had a good time. And they were really hoping that the Tan 2.0 lasts. But I think it's gone back to 0.0.
Okay, amazing. It gets us to our last question, which is twofold actually. One, what is your ultimate fashion advice for anybody watching?
Yeah.
And two, what is your advice for anybody who wants to become a stylist?
Ultimate fashion advice for anyone who's watching is that I feel like a lot of people, because I style celebrities, they look at celebrities and they're like, oh my God, I want to dress like that, you know? But you have to understand the celebrity has been dressed like that. Hair, makeup, stylist, you know what I mean? You want to look like that? I understand. But like also they've been styled for a particular event with a whole team put together, and also it's their style, you know? So recognize what your style is, you know, have a little bit of fun because everyone gets into safe space, you know, have a little bit of fun, get inspired by what you see when you travel the world, you know, take some chances. So yeah, that would be my styling advice, you know, a little bit live on the edge when it comes to styling.
Don't be so safe.
Yeah, don't be so safe. Yeah. Just have some fun. It's styling. It's fashion, you know, it's meant to be fun. And I think for someone who wants to be a stylist, I think it's very, very important to understand what the job is, you know. So whether it's watching this interview today or watching interviews of like people that have styled earlier, just get a little bit knowledge is what will help you with you know, understanding what the job is. So whether it's studying, whether it's, you know, watching interviews of previous like stylists, you know, that are existent, active, inactive, you know, using social media to your advantage, you know, reading more about fashion, design, styling. I think all of these things are very, very important for someone who wants to be a stylist. First, understand what you're getting into and then get into it. And then once you do, then you're going to have to give your 200%.
Yeah, because it's demanding.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much, Tanya.
Thank
This has been
you.
so lovely.
No, thank you so much. I'm so happy we made it happen, and I'm very happy to be here today.
And I learned so much from you. I'm
Thank
going to imbue
you.
some of these tips. Live on the edge a little bit. Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for being the best community, and we'll see you in the next one.